Mr. Chairman, may I apply to have admitted documents presented by the witness with regard to an outstanding loan of $816,706,068 one butut owed by NAWEC to Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation with regard to heavy fuel
Kinte. 1 minute, please. Spreadsheet breakdown of the payments on the file tender for Nanyang Hotel mistakenly under aircraft. Wow, it's a long document.
Letter dated 27th September 2017 from Managing Director, Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation to Managing Director, NAWEC. Re-loan confirmations showing NAWEC's total indebtedness to SSHFC as at 31st December 2015, plus related documents, admitted mark SC24.
Do the commissioners have any questions in regard to this?
Yeah.
This one?
He has more. We'll wait till
Yeah.
the end.
All right, very well. Mr. Cham, let's move on. You said you had another loan.
These are the acquisition of fire tenders and ambulances for the Gambia Civil Aviation Authority.
Acquisition of fire tenders
Yes.
and ambulances.
Yeah,
What are
that's
fire
right.
tenders?
These are ambulances usually used at the airports. It's fire-related ambulances.
Fire trucks.
Yeah, fire trucks, that's right.
All right, let's go on. You are required to do
Yes,
what?
on November, let's see, the 1st, January 21st, okay, on September 24th, 2012, we received a directive letter from the Office of the Secretary General, President's Office, State House, dated 24th September 2012, addressed to Managing Director, Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation, 61 Eccles Avenue. Subject matter is fire and emergency vehicle purchase. Further to our discussion, Graham Stoke Bar, yesterday, 28 September 2012, on the above underlined subject matter, I wish to convey approval for you to proceed and effect the necessary payment of 15% of $3,659,761 United States dollars in relation to the procurement of 8 vehicles, representing the forced purchase of the agreement with Oscars Corporation, the supplier. Please find at track the banking details of the said supplier. Whilst appreciating your usual support towards nation building, please accept the assurance of my highest consideration. Signed, Dr. Njugu Elba, Minister of Presidential Affairs, National Assembly Matters, Secretary General and Head of Civil Service. Following receipt of this, we effect the payment.
Was there an attachment, you said?
Yes, there was an attachment regarding the bank details and an invoice of the 8 vehicles, but they demanded 15% advance payment. 15% of the 3.6, yeah.
I see. Were you given a copy of the agreement that was referred to?
No, ma'am.
Between the government and this Oshkosh Corporation?
No, no, ma'am. You know, most of these directors, at times they will call the heads of departments, like the managing directors, either from the Office of the President or the Ministry of Finance. They will discuss these issues, followed by a directive. You can even see in some cases where the Secretary General is calling, following discussion with A, B, and Z. You know.
So, all right, what did you pay? What was the 15%? How much was it?
Okay, the 15% was $558,000, 964.15 cents, and then equivalent to $19,159,648 is 84 buttons.
This was paid from the National Provident Fund account to the Oshkosh Corporation.
Yes, ma'am.
Was it supposed to be a loan?
Yes.
Or just
yes.
for you to pay, that's it?
No, no, it was supposed to be a loan. We treat it as a loan in our books. That's why if you go forward to the attached documents, you will see the splitting regarding to this acquisition between the Ministry of Finance, Office of the President, and Civil Aviation.
Okay, let's finish the loan. So you gave about $500,000.
Yes.
Was that the end of it?
No. Then, okay. On January 9, 2014, we received another letter from the Office of the President, this time State House Banjul, addressed to the Managing Director, SSHC, and then the subject matter again, fire and emergency vehicle purchase. The letter says, reference is drawn to the original directives for your institution to pre-finance the procurement of the above capsule vehicles in relation to the agreement with Oscars Corporation via our letter reference PRC 675A, volume 5/7, dated 24 September, 2012. That was the earlier letter I read. Following the initial payment of the 15%, I have been directed to request that you continue the payment as per the contract. Please take necessary action as a matter of urgency. Letter signed by Aissatou Oba for Secretary General.
So you are supposed to pay how much, from 15% to what?
We're supposed to pay, the balance was $3,110,796 United States dollars, 88 cents.
Equivalent to how much in dollars?
I do not have the dollars equivalent to that particular amount, but I have the equivalent to the entire payment effected, the 3.6. There was a letter to that effect to instruct Trust Bank to effect payment, the 3.1, but I do not have this thing with me.
How much did you pay in respect of this matter, the fire and emergency vehicles?
The entire amount, yes. Total amount, I have it here. The total amount we paid regarding to these vehicles was $160,243,851.74. And following payment, total payment of $160 million, as just mentioned, the government of the Gambia repaid us $42,735,000 against the 160, leaving a net of $117,508,851.74.
To be paid by who?
Okay, this net balance of 117, there was a letter from the Office of the President indicating how this money would be repaid to Social Security. This was a letter from the Office of the President dated May 5th, 2015, addressed to the Managing Director of Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation. Subject matter, government fire tenders and ambulances. It says, on behalf of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, I have the honor to acknowledge the receipt of your letter on the above caption. His Excellency has taken note of the brief and agreed that the end users of the firefighting vehicles should refund the Social Security amount you expended on acquiring the said equipment. In this regard, His Excellency the President has indicated that Gambia Civil Aviation should refund 50% of the balance, which is 50% of the 117 million, Ministry of Finance 35%, and Office of the President 15%. A payment plan should be agreed with the institution concerned before 15 May 2015. Signed, Noah Touré for Secretary General.
What's the date of that letter?
May 5th, 2015.
Was action taken?
Yes, we have a loan agreement. It took a while before we come to agreement with the Gambia Civil Aviation, because normally for this loan agreement you have to take it through your solicitor, draft stage, and then they look at it, review it. And then finally we got the loan agreement between us and Gambia Civil Aviation.
To pay how much?
$60 million. Because the principal is 58.
Are they paying?
No, they haven't. We've been having also issues with Gambia Civil Aviation.
So what is the date of the loan agreement?
16th day of June 2015.
Does it attract any interest?
Yes, it does.
What is the interest rate?
I think the interest was what happened here? The principal amount for civil aviation to pay was 58.7 million. And then on a meeting held at the Office of the Managing Director, agreement was reached that will round round it up to 60 million. The difference between the 58.7 and the 60 million would be the interest element charged on that 58 million. So that's why the loan agreement is 60 million, different from the principal balance, the 50% of the 117.
What action did you take when they failed to pay?
We've started talking to our solicitors for recovery, maybe to take them to court. We are on the verge of, taking most of these public enterprises to court to recover these loans.
Mr. Chair, what about the other amounts?
Sorry?
That's Social Security, 50%. There was a apportioning of the debt. Did you receive anything from Finance?
No, we have not received anything yet.
Did you receive anything from Office of the President?
No, no, ma'am.
So what is the amount that is outstanding? It's still the entire
117 million.
117
Yeah, it's
million.
still outstanding. Yes, ma'am.
Or to the National Provident Fund?
Yes, ma'am. Let me just confirm that a bit.
All right. Was that the last loan that you have?
No, we had other couple of loans, guarantees to other public enterprises as well.
You have guarantees?
Loan institutional, we call them institutional loan guarantees.
These are being serviced or not being serviced?
No, they are not being serviced. These are guarantees made for certain public enterprises. And then we guarantee this loan by providing guarantees, let's say our bank term deposit as the security, cash cover
Who
guarantees.
instructed you to make those guarantees?
For the ones with Gambia Cooperative, GGC, sorry, Gambia, yes, Gambia Groundnut Corporation, these were instructions from the Ministry of Finance.
Do you have any that you made on the instructions of the Office of the President?
Regarding to this, let me
These guarantees? No. None? No. But maybe you can just name them and tell us, since they are not directly under the Office of the President, just indicate to us how much they are,
okay,
and the amounts, and to which institution, just for the record.
Okay, we start with the one at Trust Bank. There was a guarantee of, for GGC of 150 million, a loan guarantee of $150 million. And then the GGC defaulted. We guaranteed that loan based on a bank term deposit with Trust Bank.
You guaranteed them for what?
For the loan.
Direct loan from Trust Bank to GGC?
Yeah, from Trust Bank to GGC.
150 million.
150 million.
And this was directed by the Ministry of Finance?
Yes.
Okay. What is the next one? And the whole amount of 150 is outstanding?
No, that's what I'm trying to say. This was December, okay, Ministry of Finance. Okay, out of this 150 million plus interest and that sort of thing, they paid some, and then afterwards they defaulted. And then the bank called on the guarantor by liquidating our investment in the sum of 127,905,000.
These were your treasury bills?
Yeah, our bank term deposit, which we use as
term deposits.
Which was held with the bank then, used as the security, the cash cover guarantee.
100 and how much?
127,905,000.
And GGC has not paid?
No, GGC hasn't paid.
Okay. The next one?
The next one, GGC again, we guaranteed them for a loan again at BISIC.
BISIC Bank.
BISIC Bank, yeah, in the sum of $150 million. This was, according to the directives, they will tell you marketing season, crop financing. It was meant for crop financing. These are the loans they've been taking from the bank, and they want Social Security to guarantee under the purview of groundnut marketing season and crop financing.
Again, they did not pay?
They did not pay.
And
this one, the liquidated term deposit was 41,673,000.
Okay, so what is owed is that amount?
Yeah,
as
41,673,000.
GGC has not paid?
No, they haven't paid a single budget.
There is another one.
There is another one also, same GGC. We guaranteed them for 100 million with EcoBank. And again, there was a liquidation of 42 million against our term deposit as well in connection to that loan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, sorry, how much was liquidated?
$42 million.
There's still another one.
Okay, there's a corporate loan with GGC. We gave them loan. This we classify as corporate loan, as I mentioned earlier regarding to our act, which allows us to provide loan to member institution. There was a balance of about 19 million. The total amount owed to Social Security by GGC is about 222 million, $763,504.
500 and?
4.
Is there any other loan? On
Yes,
the instruction of
still
finance?
still under the institutional loan guarantees, we have Gambia Radio and Television Services. We were instructed by the Minister of Finance, yes, to provide guarantee, a loan facility in the sum of $1,845,500. A cash cover also was provided for this loan.
Cash?
Cash cover, just is
Cash
the bank
collateral,
deposit.
yes.
And then our investment also was liquidated in the sum of 37,798,000.
37,590,000.
No, 798.
790.
Yes, ma'am.
Which bank?
Trust Bank.
I hope that's the final one.
Yes, that's the final one. Sorry, sir. Let me see. Oh, there's another one here.
Sorry, before you go to the other one. The last one, who was guaranteed?
We guaranteed GRTS.
Gambia Radio and Television Services.
Yeah, Gambia Radio and Television Services.
Yes, that's all right.
Regarding to satellite link and the construction of Sankulekunda route also.
Sorry, in regard to what?
Sorry, not paid.
No, not paid. It's still outstanding.
All right, thank you.
So what is the total owed by GRTS?
The satellite link is 37,792, and then there was this 200,000 euro.
The one for the CAF.
Yeah, one for the CAF.
Just give us the total owed by on the Ministry of Finance directive. This 1.8
Yeah, this is
million, and that is only 37 million.
Yeah, because they defaulted and they liquidated our investment in the sum of 37,790,000.
In addition to the 200,000.
Yes, addition to the 200. Yeah.
You are saying there was still something.
Yes, there. M.A. Gaddafi. This is M.A. Gaddafi. We also received directive to effect payment. This was from the Minister of Finance as well. They instructed to pay M.A. Gaddafi. that was not part of the list provided to me, but we made payment in respect of government. This was a contract between the Gambia government and MA Gaddafi regarding to works at the international airport.
Works to be carried out at the airport.
The international airport. So there was an amount of 1.5 million outstanding, and then we were asked to settle that amount, that 1.5. Dollars equivalent to 41,820,000.
41,800,000.
Yes, I'm trying to get the.
Well, compile the documentation for these, because as I said, these were directed by the Ministry of Finance.
Okay,
I just wanted the Commission to hear you on 41,820,000.
Yes, 820,000.
Outstanding.
Yeah, it's still
so
outstanding.
we have 222,762,000 with regard to Gambia Groundnut Corporation. And then you have 37,798,000 with regard to GRTS.
The satellite link.
Yes, in addition to 200,000 euros.
Yeah.
And you have 41,820,000
yes,
owed by Gambia government.
Yes, by Gambia government, because there was an instruction from the Gambia government.
So what is the total portfolio of debts, monies that you have lent out from the National Provident Fund of Gambian workers and it's outstanding?
Based on our last reconciliation with the Ministry of Finance, it was $1.4 billion.
1.4 billion.
Billion, yes, ma'am.
Does this include the loans to Canil Life Group International and Office of the President, or it doesn't?
No. Those are the other loans like the
Sorry,
Ministry
does
of
it
Finance.
include, these are what?
No, it doesn't include the issue of, which has direct link with the former president, like the RAMs and that sort of thing.
So it doesn't include the,
No.
let's the $1 million that you lent out as a loan to the Office of the President. The $6.4 million is that you lent out and was received by Mr. Amadou Samba, and it doesn't include the 10 million to KGI, Kanilai Group International, the 15 million loan for Tobaski Ram sales. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but inclusive of to all that, with those KGI, RAMs and that sort of thing, the total outstanding is 1.7 billion.
Say that again.
Inclusive of all those directives is 1.7 billion.
The National Provident Fund.
Not
and the
only
Federated
the Provident Fund, from different funds.
Okay. Tell us
But
what
the total for Social Security is 1.7.
Do you have a breakdown of the funds?
No, I don't have it here.
So the National Provident Fund, the Federated Pension Scheme Fund, and the ICF, which is the Injuries
Social
Compensation
Security and
Fund.
Housing Finance Corporation as a company.
1 billion.
Yeah, 1.7, the total.
1.7 billion.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, did we tender all the documents? We still have some documents.
That is the fire tender, I believe.
Okay, you have documents relating to, we would like you to compile the documents relating to the finance, since it's part of the record, the loans that you made on the instructions of the Ministry of Finance.
Okay.
Could you compile them together as a package and bring them when you come in the next time?
Okay.
Because I also understand that apart from loans, you made investments on the instructions of the Office of the President, some of which are write-offs that you did not recover. Yes?
Not write-off as such. Provisions are made on some of those investments.
Let's say they are non-performing.
Non-performing investments, yeah.
Yes. All right. Non-performing. You know, what makes this very disturbing, I think, is the fact that Social Security Corporation is not really an extension of those corporations that are owned by government. Social Security Corporation is a corporation really that is supposed to take care of the pension funds of the private sector, not even the public sector, of the private sector. So you have private sector employees every month paying into this fund a great deal of money, which is supposed to be invested for their benefit so that when they retire, they can collect and they can, for their security in old age. This seems to have been squandered, literally, because most of these loans you have mentioned are not recoverable as intended, unless they are recovered from the government. So I want to ask you, what has been the government's position when you have discussed these loans? Because these loans must be repaid. They are not money that belongs to the government. And as far as I can see, if government can enter into a bond to pay off the debts of a private operator, really, I don't see any reason why something similar has not been worked out for Social Security. What has been government's position regarding these funds?
Ma, as I said earlier, we've been having series and series of discussion with the government regarding to these outstanding debts, but they will always promise that we will pay. Let me give you an example regarding to the GGC issue. We used to have some kind of tripartite meeting, Social Security, GGC, and the Ministry of Finance. The GGC will instruct the ministry the amounts owed to GGC to be paid to Social Security. We'll go to a level that we'll sit even with the minister, the permanent secretary, and agree on certain terms, but they will never honor those agreements. And that's, at times we used to have problems, especially some of these public enterprise. If we want to take them court, we'll start having calls from the government. You cannot take government institution to court. You are all under government. Those are the things that we cannot take some of these public enterprises to court because we are all on. That's the saying at their level. That's the saying at their level.
That you are all public enterprises.
Public enterprises they see it as taking the government to court. Because most of those public enterprises, they don't come to Social Security directly. They go to the ministry. This is what we need. The ministry or the office of president will send us directive. You start hitting them, following them, they'll say, oh, no, we never applied for this. It was government who said this, you have to go after government. I think if you call GGC, they will provide you with a lot of correspondence regarding to this issue. We've been going back and forth regarding to this, but for them to pay this, and they were prepared to pay this amount back to Social Security. Okay. But they said government was owing them.
Okay, time is going, and I'm sure the commissioners want to ask you questions. Okay. My last question is, what about the board? You report this to the board. It's in your account, your audited account.
Yeah, it reflects on
what has the board done about it or said about it?
Well,
or the Board of Social Security is irrelevant. It seems to me that your board is irrelevant. They might as well not exist because the management seems to do whatever it wanted without reference to the board.
No, to be honest, some of these things, the board definitely are aware of all these things. These
who has been the chair of your board since 2011 when it seems most of these loans started? Or 2010, we had Mr.
Akibayo was one time the board, and then was
first
one
you
time
had
the
Mr.
chairman.
Amadou Samba, then you had Mr.
Akibayo, yes.
And then?
Mr.
Akibayo was also the Minister of Local Government.
Local Government and Lands. And then afterwards, there was...
was he still your chairman when he was Minister of Local Government and Lands?
Yes, ma.
He was minister and your chairman?
And then chairman as well. And those appointments are made from the office of the president.
And who else was chair of your board?
Mr. Samba, he was one time the Secretary General at the office of the president, but for a very short time. And then afterwards, this guy came in, Bami Jany, and also a very short time. Because afterwards, what happened was, it was some kind of notice or directive to us saying that, the chair of Social Security should be the Secretary General of the office of the president.
The chair of the Social Security Board
should be the Secretary General of the Office of the President. That's why we had that Samba, and afterwards, when he was terminated or dismissed, Bami came as Secretary General, and then Bami became the Secretary General, the Chairman of the Social Security Board. But now we don't have a chairman at the moment.
It seems to me there was a total misapprehension in government about Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation. It is not a public enterprise.
Yes.
It is not an enterprise. It's a fund, a pension fund, privately owned, and it should have been treated as private equity and not as an extension of government. Anyway, I'm sure the commissioners have questions.
Thank you, I agree.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
government is a continuum. Can you give us the good news that the requests have stopped?
Yes, it has stopped. It has definitely stopped. I think there is only ongoing one, but that was through the previous government, which is GNPC, that 2.5 million, LCV guarantee, and then making the payments good now with Trust Bank.
So in plain English, if the borrower doesn't pay, you can stop lending them.
Yeah.
There is no fear anymore.
Yeah. Yes.
Confirm,
now.
positive.
Yes, positive.
Okay. Last question. On the overdraft, did you write anything to inform the Office of the President that this request they're making you execute was going to cost you $73 million in interest payments?
Yeah.
Was there any correspondence to educate them, inform them of the implication of their directive?
Yes, we have discussion regarding to this because we always advise, because normally, as I said earlier, we normally collect bank balances on daily basis and it reflects on those bank balances. No, I will come, sir. Okay. We normally collect these things every day and it will show on the bank balances, and then the report will be forwarded to the managing director regarding to the situation. Definitely, I can say that we had series of discussion regarding to this overdrawn situation. But at times, you find it difficult to communicate certain things to those people. You can only do it through verbal. That was the problem we are facing with some of these directives.
So you didn't write? Huh? You didn't write?
Well, we've written to NAWEC telling them, they are supposed to pay this because the situation is this, that is overdrawn account up to this amount. I have a letter to NAWEC regarding to the overdraft situation.
The OP took the liberty to
Yes,
write.
yeah.
What stopped you from putting pen to paper to inform them of the implication? You are the person with the technical know-how. They wanted national development by force. You had the knowledge to run a public or a private institution or to manage financial issues.
Yeah.
The people sitting at the OP, were they aware that you were paying that much in interest?
Well, okay, as you said, the finance director, when I see this thing, I report to my managing director, and I expect my managing director to further inform those people that these are the situation. Normally, as I said earlier, most of these things, it's not me that they should talk to. They usually talk to the managing director, followed by the directive. I could only report to the managing director because these things are addressed to the managing director. If I see anything, and something that is impacting the fund and that sort of thing, I will report to the managing director and then mention it on the quarterly management meetings. We used to have quarterly management meetings, quarterly accounts, and that would give you the status, the performance of the corporation. And you will see all those negative variants reported to management. And then definitely, I think that's where I can stop. Report to my managing director, and then the managing director will further report to the other authorities.
Okay. One final question. Management.
Yeah.
Some of the directives were not backed by law.
Yeah.
Did you ever seek internal or external counsel? You mentioned.
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah, you mentioned that you were told it's not nice to take other parastatals to court. That's a view that you could have easily confirmed via legal or advice. Both internal. Yes. Why didn't management stop to think that we have been handling this without success? Default upon default upon default. And we are being told that it's not a good idea. Taking NAWEC or another institution to court looks like we are taking the government, which was really a wrong view.
Yeah.
Now, you could have easily proved that by asking do you have internal or external counsel?
Internal audit?
No, counsel, lawyer.
Lawyer, yes.
Social Security.
We do have lawyers, solicitors.
So, how come in all your deliberation, not one mention, they couldn't add value to any of your management deliberations?
Deliberation, that's right.
It was an oversight by management.
I could possibly say that, and then to be honest, at times, really the main issue is about fear. Who you're talking to and where these things are taken to what level. That is, at times, you know, it hurts you, really.
So
it
you
hurts
were
you.
afraid to seek legal opinion, be it internal or external?
Not afraid as such, but these are things that we discuss at management level, whereas the managing director is part of the management team and a board member as well. If we raise our concerns, can I continue?
Yeah, please finish.
So if concerns are raised at management level, in the presence of the managing director as a board member, and then as the head of institution, we expect him to further report this thing to the board. We don't sit at the board. We raise concern, and then, you know, the management accounts are presented either by me or at times my assistant, and we will show the true picture of the social security performance within that period. So really, I think, well, it's the managing director's responsibility to report these issues to the board and then take it further up.
Mr. Chairman, were you the trusted advisor to the managing director as finance and investment manager or director?
Yes.
You were. And do you know that part of the reason we are here with 1.7 billion in debt is because the managing director could have relied on legal counsel to stop you from taking the corporation to this point?
Well, fine. Yes, that is true. But I should say something else. Some of these things, when they came, we'll sit, discuss it. We raise our concerns. These are the things. But it is left with the managing director whether we could proceed also. Because these are addressed to the managing director. He will call me, not only me in his office, probably with other directors. Okay, we received this thing from the office of the president. It says X, Y, and Z. You have people talking on all sides. Oh, it's not fair, this and thing. But, you know, at times the managing director will tell you, you know, look, I'm here, I'm a political appointee. I'm here to protect myself. If I don't do it, something will happen to me. We've had their experience regarding to our former managing director, Mr. Graham. He was locked up for almost two years without doing nothing, absolutely. These are the things that most of the managing directors are facing. Not talking of those below the managing directors. Okay. If you can kill a sheep within a second, what would you do with a chicken?
It's very serious.
Yeah, it is very serious.
But let's move now from presidential directive to Minister of Finance directive.
Okay.
Again, under what law can the Minister of Finance issue directives?
Yes, this has puzzled me a bit. Recently, our revised act, it says the Minister of Finance can give directives, which, you know, when I saw it, I really put a big question mark. I was saying that it might result to what was happening before. If you give the Minister of Finance the powers to give directive to Social Security, it might be a similar thing.
He certainly knows more finance and economics than the people at the OP.
That's right.
Yes, so from a technical perspective, you are better off taking directives from him. But my question is the past ones.
Yeah.
The past directives you got from MOF.
Did
you really have to execute those with fear, just like from the office of the president?
We did.
Constitutionally, they cannot issue directives. So again, you could have relied on your lawyer to advise you on the way forward.
Yeah, I am not very sure what is in the 1981 Act, because the Act had been revised to 2015. You know, most of the changes is not much. Probably the powers or the listing of the Minister of Finance is in that Act.
We will allow you to confirm and get back.
Exactly, I will do that, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, there's a set of documents I forgot to take. The fire tender documents.
Yes,
could you?
It's not.
Mr. Chan,
Yes.
just one question that I have for you. I think you've really educated us in the number of payments made to made by Social Security today. which is interesting. But what I would like to know, what viable investments did Social Security make during this period to generate returns? Can you name at least one?
We have equities with Trust Bank and Standard Chartered Bank, and then we having optimum returns regarding to our investment because those banks are paying dividend. In addition to that, monthly term deposits, and treasury bill. Recently, we've entered into these government bonds.
So, you mentioned that quite a few of the term deposits were also liquidated.
Yeah.
Was an analysis ever done to show that what monies have left Social Security, pensioners' funds? Did you do like an analysis to see whether there were returns coming in? Because all these ones, would you say that they are lost revenue?
Yeah, they are. Yes, that's what I said earlier regarding to these quarterly management accounts. It will give you a clear reflection of the performance.
On the management accounts?
On the management accounts, because normally management accounts, you have the budget actual and the variance as a sort of thing, and then you'll have the investment portfolio. It will give you the performance regarding to those things, because you will have the column for the interest income regarding to investment compared to budget and that sort of thing. And then we do analysis to previous years. That will give you the actual performance regarding to, what happened previous years and currently. And I would go further regarding to your questions. To be honest, it has serious and devastating impact on the corporation, to be honest. On our 2014 actuarial valuation, it shows a deficit of over 28%. That is what the latest report.
Sorry?
28%.
The actuarial valuation, 2014.
So how did Social Security fund that?
It's a problem to us.
It's still a problem?
It is a problem because already we have a deficit. That's why we're trying to build up our investment portfolio now. And then probably to rely on the commission as well to make some recoveries on some of these debts and that sort of thing. That would help. We also engage solicitors to recover these debts.
Well, I think interesting. I don't know if you've been asked to submit, madam, but we'd like the audited accounts.
Audited accounts, okay. The last audited accounts, which is
the audited accounts for the period. I think it's good to.
For the let's say from 2010 to date. Okay.
I'm not sure what you've been requested to provide, but we would like to.
Okay, which period do you want?
For the past 7 years, I think that should be fine.
Let's say, okay.
You can work it back. I think 2016 should be the most up to date.
Yes, but it's yet to be finalized, and that 2016 would be very interesting. I'm sure we'll soon finalize that one, because most of this loan, the external auditors are recommending provision regarding to those things. It will be,
You can't hear. Most of these loans, sorry?
Our external auditors are recommending provision to be provided for, because they classify them as non-performing loans, non-performing investment, and on the accounting rule, such should be classified as non-performing, and then they will be provided for.
They're classifying them in 2017.
That's what I was about to
2016.
ask. Is it the first time provisioning is taken on these accounts?
No, the one in particular that I can remember is our GAMCO, which was an investment of about 15.6, and sometime in 2007 it was fully provided 100% provision on that. In addition to that, there are mortgage repayments due to certain beneficiary at our housing scheme. The auditors do make provision on those mortgage outstanding debts.
So these ones you've mentioned here today, no provisioning was applied on them, not even 5%?
I think we had some 10%, the range of 10 to 20%. But now what the external auditors are recommending is 200% provision on all those things. And then we more or less agree to that, because we agree that, these things are not performing. We've made these payments, but not recovered for a long period. And there's a specific period regarding to...
Please provide the audited accounts.
Okay.
I think for the past 7 years should be fine.
Okay.
Together with your management letters, please.
Management letters, okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, may I apply to have the last set of documents on the payments made to Oshkosh with regard to fire tenders and ambulances?
letter dated 12 November 2012 from Office of the President to the Managing Director, SSHFC, re purchase of fire tenders and ambulances and related documents. Admitted mark SC25. Yeah, I'm afraid, we'll have to stop here. I wish to say that tomorrow we are going to visit certain sites that are very relevant to these proceedings, and therefore there will be no sitting tomorrow. So we'll be back on Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning.